What's up, guys? Thanks for tuning in. Today we're going to replace our Berkey water filter, which we've been using for years. Since we've been full-time RVing, we've always used the Berkey water filter. Today we're going to replace that with the VonWater RO system. It's going to free up some counter space for us. This is a very compact unit. It's going to fit nicely underneath the sink. So let's get to it. Got some mounting hardware and fittings. Some more mounting hardware. So there's the unit. You can see it's not very big, it's pretty compact. Also in the box we're going to have a lot of tubing. And also our instruction guide. So this system is going to actually use filters. So it's going to have our filters inside. And this will be our spigot that comes, our faucet that comes out of the top of our countertop. Alright, so that's everything that is in the box. So we're going to go over here, get some of this stuff laid out, and get to installing it. Alright, so we're getting ready to get this install going. You can see how much room this Berkey water filter, while it has been great, we've had no issues out of it, it's been perfect, but obviously it takes up a lot of space up here. So looking forward to having this out of the way and just having our little spout come up to get our clean drinking water from. So the first thing we're going to do is position this underneath the sink. So I didn't have enough room to set it here along the wall of the cabinet, so we're just going to turn it, put it against the back wall, and I'm going to leave enough hose and tubing to where we'll still be able to swing it out and get the filters out when it's time to change them. All our control buttons are on the front, but once we go through the initial flush process, you know, we shouldn't really be accessing this all the time. So just gonna put that back in place. The first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna start off and install our adapters so that we can hook our water feed line in. That's gonna be this blue tube. So this is gonna go in here on the cold water side, and then we'll hook our blue tube from here and run it into the top of the VonWater RO system. So the threads on this are 1/2 inch, so it's going to fit perfectly into our fittings. So I don't need any adapters or anything. I should just be able to unscrew this and then put that right in place. So I've got the water off. I'm going to release the pressure on it by opening the faucet up top. So you will need to have somewhere you can plug this in also. We have an outlet right here underneath the cabinet that goes through to the outside of this cabinet. So we're just going to drill a hole so we can plug it in right there. Go ahead and throw a towel down here just in case we get some water coming out whenever I disconnect this. tightened up. So now we can take our compression fitting off. So they have these marked. So there's black marks around the tubing to show you how far in, when you're inserting it into the fittings, how far in you have to push it before you put the locking clip in place. So for this, we're just using this compression fitting. So we're going to put our compression nut on the tubing first. Tubing on, and put our fitting on. So you can see we have plenty of tubing. So I'm going to go ahead and just cut this a little shorter. Still leave myself plenty to be able to maneuver this to get the fittings out. So we're just going to cut this one off. Make it nice and round again. And then, so that I know how far I need to insert this, I'm just going to kind of use the old piece I cut off and kind of mark it against that so that I know how far I should be pushing that in down into the fitting. So the way this is going to work, I'm going to insert this right down into the top here into our water inlet, and then we're going to put this clip in there to hold it in place. Alright, so that went all the way in. You see I'm all the way into my line that I marked, so I know I'm in all the way. So I'm just going to pull that up and push that clip in place, and that is going to keep it locked in. Now we're going to install our pressure regulator. I don't really think in an RV that we would ever have too much water pressure coming into this, but basically if the water pressure gets too high, this will cut it back so it doesn't cause any damage to the RO system. Super easy to install. We're just going to cut our water feed pipe. There's an arrow on here. That arrow is going to point toward the RO system, so basically in the direction of the water flow. So our water flow is going to come in here and then come out and go into our RO system. So pretty straightforward. We're just going to find a good spot, probably a nice straight spot. Cut it. Use our pliers to make it nice and round. Make sure our arrow is going the right way, and basically push it in until it stops. Same thing here. Push it in until it stops. And then we're going to put one of these blue clips on each side. There we go. All right, so that's our water feed line. So the next thing we're going to do is hook up our wastewater line, which is going to come out of here, the one that says wastewater. So it's going to come out of this one, and then it's going to go up, and we're going to drill a fitting into our sink pipe so that when this thing does its flush cycle, it'll be able to pump the water out, the wastewater, flush water out into the sink drain and drain out. So the way we're going to do that, this is going to come with a fitting that we're basically going to drill a hole into our pipe, and then this will clamp around it, and our tube will go right into this fitting and seal up on our sink pipe. So for our application, I'm gonna put it on this side. That way we can just go straight from the waste, bring the wastewater line straight up and right into the side of the tubing. So you're gonna need a 1/4 inch drill bit for this. Go about halfway up right here. They give you a little gasket to put over that hole so that it'll seal up. There we go. Got our gasket in place. Make sure it's lined up. So the pipe's going to use this to clamp around. So it's just going to clamp like that, and they give you some screws to hold it all together, some bolts. So I've got a smaller drill bit here that I'm going to try to use. I'm going to kind of use that as a guide so that I know when I've got the hole lined up. Alright, so I've got my drill bit in there to kind of help use as a guide to know when I've got this thing lined up straight. So now I've got it lined up. Just tighten it down. Definitely a little tricky getting that lined up, but there's not a lot of pressure on that hose. I mean, it's not pumping out with a ton of pressure, so that should, once you tighten it up, it really squeezes that little washer in there. So now I'll do the same thing we did before. We're going to stick our waste hose in all the way until we get to the line. And we're going to use these little green clips to clip that in place. Alright, now we are ready to hook up our freshwater line, which is going to go from the top of the RO system up to our faucet. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do, I looked from underneath. This seems like about the spot where we want it. There's no obstructions underneath that would impede our hose hooking up. So I'm going to drill a very small hole here first so I can look up underneath and make sure that this is definitely where we want to go with it. So this hole size is going to be 1/2 inch, but I'm just going to start with a little 1/8 inch bit right in the center. That's perfect. That's exactly where we want to be. So now we'll step up to a 1/4 inch. Go full 1/2 inch. So now that'll sit right there. Now I'll just go underneath, put on our little rubber washer, and then tighten it up on the nut. As you can see underneath, that's where it come through. All right, so that's going to be our freshwater spigot. Let's hook the hose up. So the way the hose is going to hook up to that, we're going to come out of our pure water, fitting. It's going to run up to our RO spigot. First thing we have to do is put this adapter on. So this is going to push onto the bottom of the RO faucet up top. We'll clip it in place like we did the other hoses, and then we'll run our hose into the bottom and clip it as well. All right, so now we're going to put our white tube, we're going to hook it up into that fitting, and I'll show you guys what it looks like when it's done. It's hard to see up in there. We're just going to insert this into that fitting we just installed. So this is what it's going to look like once your fitting is in place. So it just connects directly to the faucet, and then your hose goes into that fitting and you put the clips on. So now we're going to run this around over the top and into our freshwater outlet. So I see why they give us that mark on there. When I was pushing that fitting in up top, it only went in about halfway. So without that mark on there, I probably wouldn't have realized that we didn't have it shoved all the way in. So I'm going to go ahead and mark this one also. All right into the top of that. So now I'm just going to zip tie our tubing together so that it's not just flopping around under here. Not super tight, just to keep it out of the way of our sink. This is our sink nozzle, so our spray nozzle. Keep it out of the way of that. All right, so now we're just going to come right in here. I'm going to come right below our outlet, and I'm just going to drill us a hole right here below the outlet so we can run our cord through and just plug it straight in to this outlet. All right, so we've got it plugged in. We've got blue lights on the front. Go turn our water on, check for leaks. I'm not seeing any leaks around any of the fittings, so I'm going to go ahead and turn the water supply on. So when the system first comes on, it's going to go through a flush, which is going to shoot water. It's going to fill up the system, flush it through our wastewater pipe. You can hear it doing that now. So it's going to go through this cycle for about 30 seconds, and then they recommend running the RO water faucet for 30 minutes just to get everything flushed out. So I can feel water coming through the wastewater line now. So I know we're pumping water through there, no leaks. All right. So it's gone through its initial procedure when it turns on. So now we're gonna turn our faucet on. So I can hear it pushing the air out now. There we go. So that system's running. You hear it pumping underneath. Checking for leaks on our freshwater line. Everything looks good. like I said, they recommend, VonWater recommends letting this run for 30 minutes just to prime the filters and get everything kind of primed and ready to go. So we're gonna let this run, and we'll give you an update after 30 minutes. All right, so I know I said 30 minutes. It's actually been a couple of weeks now that we've been using this, the VonWater 600G under sink RO system, and it's been awesome. The Berkey's out of here. We no longer use that. The spout works perfect for right here, being right here installed by the sink. It's small, it's out of the way, provides us with nice, pure, clean water without having to deal with a big water filtration system like we had in the Berkey. All the connections underneath, nothing has leaked. The system has been just absolutely flawless, and we couldn't be happier with the VonWater 600G. There's going to be a link in the description of the video if you want to check it out for yourself. Perfect if you have a small space, don't have room for a big RO system. You can install this right under your sink, takes up very little room. We appreciate you guys watching, and we'll catch you guys down the road.